We are going to start the session soon, and we are going to have a very interesting session today on eclectic session on eclectic reading of science and technology. So we are going to have a look at a very interesting passage based on science, and we are going to crack it. We are going to understand every single word of the passage, and then we are going to solve the questions. So, good evening, a very good evening to all of you. For those who don't know me, my name is Saloni, and I'll be taking your today's session on science and technology, on rather, I would say, passages or reading comprehensions on science and technology. Now, see, when we talk about different genres possible, right, जब हम बोलते हैं that ये जो reading comprehensions है, they can come from any possible genre, what are we actually concerned about? इतना ये मैटर ऑफ कंसर्न क्यों है कि ये जो passages है वो कहीं से भी पूछे जा सकते हैं? See, the problem is, जैसे जैसे हम बड़े होते गए, we have kind of our own comfort zones. We have built our own comfort zones, right? Some students are probably, more comfortable in reading economics. Maybe some of them are more comfortable in reading passages based on politics. Some of you might be more comfortable in reading passages based on science or tech, right? So, जो आपने शुरू से read किया है, उस टॉपिक से रिलेटेड पैसेज अगर आपको आता है, then you're definitely going to become more comfortable in reading, understanding and attempting the questions. Now the point is, अगर आपको पैसेज साइंस के बेसिस पे आता है या टेक्नोलॉजी के बेसिस पे आता है, then how are you going to deal with that passage? The very first point that you need to consider is that science and technology based passages ज़्यादातर facts के basis पे होते हैं, right? Facts के basis पे, discoveries के basis पे, research के basis पे, right? So there's not much to understand, but there's definitely a lot to remember. There's definitely a lot to retain in your mind while reading a passage, right? तो जब भी आपके सामने कोई साइंस या टेक बेस्ड पैसेज रखा हुआ हो, यू हैव टू बी श्योर कि आपको बहुत सारे डिटेल्स याद करने की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, right? Now, when I ask you to remember the details, obviously I understand that it's not going to be possible for you to remember every single word of every single paragraph kept there, right? You just need to make sure कि आप जितनी भी important details दिखती है in every single paragraph, आप उन्हें अपने mind में capture कर लो. Second point to be remembered while dealing with these science and tech based passages is that there's no point in getting stuck in every single word, right? ऐसे बहुत सारे words होंगे, especially this is for the students who come from commerce background. आपको ऐसे बहुत सारे words दिखेंगे जो शायद आपने कभी सुने भी नहीं होंगे, right? So the प्रॉब्लम इज जब आप उन वर्ड्स में स्टक हो जाते हो, जब आप उन वर्ड्स में स्टक होके अपना टाइम वेस्ट कर लेते हो. बट सी, मोस्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस विल बी बेस्ड ऑन मेन आइडिया, or even if they are fact based questions, you won't be required to understand those words. You will just be required to go back to those specific lines, read the lines and answer the question, choose the correct option, right? So it's not important to understand every single word, rather it's important to understand the main idea, the overall idea of the passage. So today we are going to solve a simple passage that will be based on science. मैंने बहुत सारे jargons या technical words वाला passage नहीं लिया है. I've just taken a typical science passage, and जो topic है वो भी I think science students ही नहीं, जिस भी background से आप लोग आ रहे हो, I think you'll be able to understand it, right? So how do we need to deal with such a passage? जैसे मैंने बोला, you do not need to get stuck in every single word. You do not need to understand or remember every single word. You just need to focus on the main idea and some of the important details present in every single paragraph. अगर आप इतना भी कर लेते हो, then you will be in a fair position to attempt most of the questions correctly. Okay, so I'm going to keep a passage in front of you, and you'll be reading that passage. I'll be giving you, let's say 1 or 1.5 minute, or let's say 2 minutes to go through that passage quickly. Then I'm going to make you understand every single word of that passage, and then we'll solve the questions. Okay, so I'm going to probably take 40 to 45 minutes to make you understand the passage and then to solve the questions. and I'll show the screen now. Start reading the passage and let me know once you are done. एक बार आप लोग passage read करके please chat box में लिख देना once you are done reading it. Okay? Come on, start. Start reading the passage. I hope it's clearly visible to you guys. Those who are done reading the passage, you guys can just drop a yes in the chat box. जो लोग पढ़ ले उसके बाद प्लीज एक yes drop कर देना chat box में. Yes, are you guys done? I hope you guys are done reading this. In next 30 seconds, I'm going to start. I'm going to make you understand every single word of the passage, and then we're going to solve the questions together. I hope you guys are okay with that. Last 20 seconds for you guys to read it, and then I'll be starting. Come on. Let me know once you are done, okay? And just keep participating in the chat box. Keep dropping in your answers in the chat box. Okay, fine. So let's move forward. Now let's start with the first paragraph. पहले first paragraph से start करते हैं and then slowly we'll move forward and understand the main idea of every single paragraph, okay? Now, what is the first paragraph all about? It says the only thing worse than being lied to is not knowing you're being lied to. It's just a philosophical line. Ignore it. It just basically says that झूठ से भी ज़्यादा खराब ये एक चीज़ है that आपको पता ही नहीं है अगर कोई आपसे झूठ बोल रहा है तो. It's just a philosophical line. Just ignore that and move forward on the main idea. It says it's true that plastic pollution is a huge problem of planetary proportions, and it's true we could all do more to reduce our plastic footprint. The lie is that the blame for the plastic problem is wasteful consumers and that changing our individual habits will fix it. These two lines in the first paragraph are extremely important because अगर आपको ये दोनों lines समझ नहीं आई है, then you would not have understood the whole passage. Right? So the whole passage is actually based upon this lie that the author is talking about. Right? Author क्या बोल रहा है that we know that plastic problem is a huge problem and we also know that something could be done about it. But the only lie is that blame for the plastic problem is being put on the consumers. राइट ये झूठ यू नो हमें परेशान करता है बार बार दैट हम रिस्पॉन्सिबल है कंज्यूमर्स आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द प्लास्टिक प्रॉब्लम एंड इफ वी चेंज आवर हैबिट्स then we are definitely going to fix the problem. But all of this is a lie. It's a simple lie, right? सो ऑथर क्या बोलना चाह रहा है, दैट कंज्यूमर्स आर नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिबल, समवन एल्स इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल, एंड इवन इफ वी चेंज आवर इंडिविजुअल हैबिट्स वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू सॉल्व दिस प्रॉब्लम. अब वो किसको और ब्लेम कर रहा है, विल मूव फॉरवर्ड एंड अंडरस्टैंड द होल पैसेज, बट फिलहाल के लिए फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में हमें इतना जानने को मिला that the author says that we are not responsible for the plastic problem, and even if we end up changing our habits we might not be able to fix the problem. Second paragraph says recycling plastic is to saving the earth what hammering a nail is to halting a falling skyscraper. What do you understand by this phrase? Any idea, any guesses? Yes, skyscraper क्या होती है? Skyscrapers are those tall buildings, right? So इस फ्रेज को समझने के लिए थोड़ा सा आगे और पढ़ते हैं. You struggle to find a place to do it and feel pleased when you succeed, but your effort is wholly inadequate and distracts from the real problem of why the building is collapsing in the first place. The real problem is that single use plastic, the very idea of producing plastic items like grocery bags, which we use for an average of 12 minutes, but can persist in the environment for half a millennium, is an incredibly reckless abuse of technology. Right? So, why did the author use such a phrase? To just make you guys understand that what we are doing is we are looking at the problem in a superficial way. We need to solve the real root cause of the problem. राइट, इसीलिए ऑथर बोल रहा है दैट रिसाइकलिंग प्लास्टिक इज टू सेविंग द अर्थ व्हाट हैमरिंग अ नेल इज टू फॉलिंग अ स्काई स्क्रेपर. अगर आप प्लास्टिक प्रॉब्लम के लिए एक ऐसा सोल्यूशन देते हो दैट वी नीड टू रिसाइकल द प्लास्टिक, तो ये तो वही बात हुई ना दैट इफ अ स्काई स्क्रेपर इज फॉलिंग देन व्हाट यू आर डूइंग इज यू आर हैमरिंग अ नेल टू स्टॉप अ फॉलिंग स्काई स्क्रेपर, टू हॉल्ट अ फॉलिंग स्काई स्क्रेपर. लेकिन आपको ये समझना है कि वो जो स्काई स्क्रेपर है वो गिर ही क्यों रहा है. Why is that skyscraper falling, or why is that building collapsing in the first place? Right, this is our root cause of the problem. तो अगर हम ये सोचेंगे कि प्लास्टिक प्रोड्यूस ही क्यों हो रहा है, instead of giving an alternate or a superficial solution to recycle the plastic, if we try to go for the root cause of the problem, then we won't be, we would be completely eradicating the problem from the root. Right? So instead of giving a superficial solution, the author just suggests all of us to find out the root cause of the problem and then solve it. Right? And that's why the author says that your effort is wholly insufficient and distracts you from the real problem of why the building is collapsing in the first place. वो building गिर ही क्यों रही है, प्लास्टिक प्रोड्यूस ही क्यों हो रहा है. Right? And then he goes on by saying that the real problem is that single-use plastic, the very idea of producing plastic items like grocery bags, though we use them for an average of 12 minutes, but they can persist, they can stay in the environment for half a millennium. And this is an incredibly reckless abuse of technology. Right? And then he goes on by saying that encouraging individuals to recycle more will never solve the problem of a massive production of single-use plastics that should have been avoided in the first place. Right? अगर हम प्लास्टिक को रिसाइकिल करना स्टार्ट भी कर देते हैं, इट्स नेवर गोइंग टू सॉल्व द प्रॉब्लम, बिकॉज जब तक हमें ये पता नहीं लगेगा कि इतना सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक प्रोड्यूस ही क्यों हो रहा है इन सच ह्यूज क्वांटिटीज, तब तक हम इस प्रॉब्लम को रूट से सॉल्व नहीं कर पाएंगे, जड़ से सॉल्व नहीं कर पाएंगे. Right? So that's what we understand from the first two paragraphs. Third paragraph pe aao, he says that as an ecologist and evolutionary biologist, I have had a disturbing window into the accumulating literature on the hazards of plastic pollution. Scientists have long recognized that plastics biodegrade slowly, if at all, and pose multiple threats to wildlife through entanglement and consumption. More recent reports highlight dangers posed by absorption of toxic chemicals in the water and by plastic odors that mimic some species' natural food. Mimic karna yani copy karna. Plastics also accumulate up the food chain, and studies now show that we are likely ingesting it ourselves in seafood. अगर आप third paragraph पे focus करते हो ना, it's all about the harmful effects of plastic. There's nothing to understand here, but you would definitely need to remember a few important points. कि कैसे बायोडिग्रेडेशन की बात हुई है, वाइल्ड लाइफ थ्रेट की बात हुई है, threats to wildlife, and then we are talking about how it gets accumulated in the food chain and we end up ingesting it ourselves in seafood, right? So कि अगर इतने ज़्यादा फैक्ट्स होते हैं, अगर इतनी ज़्यादा डिटेल्स आपको दी जाती है, देन द बेस्ट थिंग इज टू जस्ट कीप वन थिंग इन माइंड कि अगर इसके बेसिस पे मुझे कोई क्वेश्चन पूछा जाएगा, देन आई एम सिंपली गोइंग टू कम बैक टू दिस पैराग्राफ एंड रीड द होल डिटेल्स, राइट, रीड एवरी सिंगल डिटेल ऑफ इट. अगर आप इतना भी याद रख लोगे दैट दिस डिटेल इज गिवन टू यू इन द थर्ड पैराग्राफ, देन ऑल्सो इट विल बी मोर देन इनफ फॉर यू टू कम बैक to this paragraph and read the details and solve the question. Coming to the fourth paragraph, now this paragraph is extremely important, very, very important. In fact, I can say the most important paragraph of the whole passage. It says, beginning in the 1950s, big beverage companies like Coca-Cola and Bust, along with Philip Morris and others, formed an NGO called Keep America Beautiful. Its mission is or was to educate and encourage environmental stewardship in the public. Right? What do you understand by the word stewardship? Any idea? सी एनवायरमेंटल स्टेवॉर्डशिप यानी एनवायरमेंटल अवेयरनेस. तो एक मिशन की बात हो रही है, कीप अमेरिका ब्यूटीफुल, जो इन दोनों बिग बेवरेज कंपनीज ने स्टार्ट किया है. एंड उनका मिशन क्या था? टू एजुकेट पीपल ऑफ एनवायरमेंटल अवेयरनेस. Right? At face value, these efforts seem benevolent. What do you understand by the word benevolent? समथिंग गुड, राइट. बेने एक रूट वर्ड है जो ग्रीक या लैटिन लैंग्वेज से आया है, जिसका मतलब होता है गुड. सो बेनेवलेंट मीन्स गुड. एट फेस वैल्यू यानी बाहर से जो भी दिखता है, एट फेस वैल्यू दीज एफर्ट्स सीम टू बी गुड, बट दे ऑब्सक्योर द रियल प्रॉब्लम. व्हाट डू वी अंडरस्टैंड विद द वर्ड ऑब्सक्योर? कुछ हाइड करना. सो दे से दैट बाहर से तो ये जो दो कंपनीज है, इनके एफर्ट्स काफ़ी अच्छे दिखते हैं, लेकिन ये रियल प्रॉब्लम को हाइड कर देते हैं. दीज कंपनीज आर एक्चुअली हाइडिंग द रियल प्रॉब्लम, right, which is the role that corporate polluters play in the plastic problem. Right? They say that this clever misdirection, ye author bol raha hai, that this clever misdirection has led the journalist and author Rogers to describe Keep America Beautiful as the first corporate greenwashing front, as it has helped shift the public focus to consumer recycling behavior and actively thwarted legislation that would increase extended producer responsibility for waste management. Right. So what is the author saying? That ये जो भी कंपनीज है, वैसे तो बाहर से तो ये they show us as if they care a lot about the environment. They try to educate people of the environmental they try to educate people of a lot of problems going on in the environment, but they are actually hiding the real problem. And the real problem is that how these corporate companies are themselves acting as polluters, how they are using a lot of plastic. राइट. तो वो ये कंपनीज क्या कर रही है? पब्लिक का जो थॉट प्रोसेस है, उनको डिस्ट्रैक्ट कर रही है, बेसिकली पब्लिक को डिस्ट्रैक्ट कर रही है, एंड उन्हें ये दिखा रही है दैट you need to focus on recycling, you need to focus on your individual habits, and you need to probably start recycling more. But the problem is these companies themselves are using so much plastic, and they're so much polluting the environment, then they're actually hiding the real problem. Right? And that's why this author and journalist, these people are calling these companies greenwashing front. Greenwashing front ऐसी companies होती है जो खुद को बाहर से अच्छा दिखाती है, लेकिन अंदर से they actually try to deceive people by distracting them from the real problem. Right? So that's why they say, as it has helped shift the public focus to consumer recycling behavior and actively thwarted legislation that would increase extended producer responsibility for waste management. The greatest success of Keep America Beautiful has been to shift the onus of environmental responsibility onto the public, while simultaneously becoming a trusted name in the environmental movement. ये companies ने क्या किया है? खुद को तो ऐसा दिखा दिया है that they are caring about the environment so much, और लोगों के माइंड्स में, लोगों के हार्ट्स में ट्रस्ट गेन कर लिया है अपनी कंपनीज के लिए. बट they actually people actually don't even know what these companies are doing. They themselves are the biggest polluters in the environment. Right? Exactly, Dhimai, correct. Yes. Last paragraph says, so what can we do to make responsible use of plastic a reality? What can we actually do to solve the problem? First, reject the lie. What lie are they talking about? They're talking about this lie, the lie given to you in the first paragraph. जो लाए कि वो फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में बात कर रहे हैं ऑथर, यही के पीपल हैव स्टार्टेड ब्लेमिंग कंज्यूमर्स, दैट कंज्यूमर्स आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल। तो सबसे पहले हमें ये चीज़ रिजेक्ट करनी है, हमें ये एक्सेप्ट करना है दैट कंज्यूमर्स आर नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिबल, वी आर नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिबल, समवन एल्स इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल। Right? कौन responsible है? Author says that litter bugs are not responsible for the global ecological disaster of plastic. Humans can only function to the best of their abilities given time, mental bandwidth, and systemic constraints. Our huge problem with plastic is the result of a permissive legal framework that has allowed the uncontrolled rise of plastic pollution. राइट, सो ऑथर सेज कि ये जो लिटर बग्स होते हैं, लिटर बग्स यानी छोटा मोटा कचरा जो कंज्यूमर्स यहाँ वहाँ फेंक देते हैं, दे दीज लिटर बग्स आर एक्चुअली नॉट रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर प्लास्टिक पोल्यूशन। ज़्यादातर प्लास्टिक पोल्यूशन जो होता है वो किन लोगों की वजह से होता है या किस वजह से होता है? हमारी जो कंट्री का फ्रेमवर्क है, लीगल फ्रेमवर्क, जो परमिशन देता है इतने सारे प्रोड्यूसर्स को ह्यूज क्वांटिटीज में प्लास्टिक प्रोड्यूस करने का, that framework is responsible, right? Producers are responsible, consumers are not responsible. Plastic produce ही नहीं होगा तो consumers use कैसे करेंगे? Right? So, despite clear evidence of the harm it causes to local communities and the world's oceans, recycling is also too hard in most parts of the US and lacks the proper incentives to make it work well. Also, even if we talk about recycling, recycling is actually very, very hard in most parts of United States. So we cannot dream of, we cannot keep on relying on, just recycling as an alternative solution. We have to find out the root cause of the problem and solve it. We need to do something about the production that's happening in huge quantities. So that's what the passage is all about. I hope you guys have understood the passage, if not at least 80-90%. And I hope you guys are ready to move forward and solve the questions. I'll be showing you the first question now. Try, give your best shot, and I need all your answers in the chat box. Come on. Answers in the chat box now. Okay, Dhimai. Okay, Ishika. Okay, Ashwin. Good, guys. Come on, keep going. I want answers from all of you in the chat box. Okay, Shashank. Okay, Varsha. Okay, Abdullah. Okay, Khushbu. Good, good. Very good, all of you. Okay, Kushagra. Okay, Ayush. Okay, Khushi, Rajveer, Ramya. Excellent, guys. Great. All of you are correct. What is the question asking you? Which of the following interventions would the author most strongly support? First option क्या बोल रहा है? Recycling all plastic debris in the seabed. This is nowhere given to you. Author ने ऐसा कुछ भी suggest नहीं किया है. You can eliminate this considering it as an alien option. Right? B option क्या बोल रहा है? It says having all consumers change their plastic consumption habits. This is something opposite to what the author suggests. Right? Author तो ये बोल रहा है that even if we end up changing our habits, it's not going to fix the problem because consumers are not responsible. Plastic production or plastic producers are responsible, or our legal framework is responsible. So B goes out. It's exactly opposite to what the author supports. Right? You might have gotten confused between C and D, but C is an extreme option. C says completely banning all single-use plastic bags. आपको complete ban लगाना ही नहीं है. Author ने कहीं पे नहीं बोला है कि आप ban ही लगा दो plastic पे. He just says that we should focus on the root cause of the problem. We should probably blame the legal framework instead of blaming the consumers. Right, so nowhere he talks about a complete ban. C goes out. D says passing regulations targeted at producers that generate plastic products. Absolutely correct. That's whom the author blames, right? Blame किसको कर रहा है author? ये सारे जो भी regulations pass हो रहे हैं, legal framework, right? Legal framework ये सारे regulations pass करता है, right? And that's why we end up choosing D. ठीक है? Okay, let's go to the next question. Come on, try this. I hope you guys can see the question on the screen. Second question on the screen. Come on, start. Yes, correct, Subshri. Very good. Come on, start the second question now. Okay, Dhimai. Okay, Shika. Okay, Kushagra. Okay, Ashwin. Okay, Varsha. Okay, Shashank, Khushi. Good, guys. Come on. Okay, Abdullah. Okay, great. So, what is the question? It's a completely fact-based question, and I think you would have solved it in just a few seconds. If you guys would have known कि आपको कहाँ पे आंसर ढूंढना है, right? In the third paragraph. So the author lists all of the following as negative effects of the use of plastic, except जितने भी negative impacts थे, biodegradation की बात की थी, right? So A option goes out. It gets eliminated because it is actually given to you in the passage, right? D option, adverse impacts on the digestive systems of animals exposed to plastic, right? Where is this given? D option कहाँ पे दिया है? Where is this mentioned in the third paragraph? How can we eliminate D? Where is this mentioned कि digestive system पे adverse impact आता है animals के digestive system पे? Any idea? It's given to you in the third paragraph, last line. It says plastics also accumulate up the food chain, and studies now show that we are likely ingesting it ourselves in seafood. Absolutely, yes, Kushagra, correct. सो दो पैराग्राफ में डायरेक्टली नहीं लिखा है, बट देन दे से दैट ये जो प्लास्टिक है वो एक्यूमुलेट हो जाता है फूड चेन में, यानी कि जो एनिमल्स है उनके गट में एक्यूमुलेट हो जाता है, एंड देन वी इनडायरेक्टली एंड अप इंजेस्टिंग इट आरसेल्व्स इन सी फूड, राइट? सो डी ऑप्शन ऑल्सो गेट्स एलिमिनेटेड. पॉइजनस केमिकल्स की बात कहाँ पे की है? It's being talked about in just the line before the line that we just saw, in the second last line. They talk about how more recent reports highlight dangers posed by absorption of toxic chemicals in the water. So C option also goes out for the same reason, right? And that's how we end up choosing B, because air pollution is nowhere being talked about in the paragraph, right? And that's how B option is going to be the correct answer. I hope it is clear, Vamsi. C option is not going to be the answer because they are already talking about toxic chemicals or absorption of toxic chemicals released into the water. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the third question now. Read the third question very, very carefully and then answer. Come on. Come on, start. Okay, Kushagra. Okay, Dhimai. Okay, Shashank. Okay, Ayush. Okay, Ishika. Good, guys. Come on. Answers. Okay, Khushi. So a lot of you have chosen A and C both. I think ये दोनों options में आपको confusion है. Good. Okay, Varsha, Abdullah, Khushbu, Kushagra. Good, guys. Good. Any more answers? Okay, Ramya. Fine, let's have a look. In the first paragraph, okay, Rajbir, in the first paragraph, the author uses lie to refer to what? Right, so first paragraph में चले जाओ एक बार and try understanding the paragraph again. Right, as I've told you कि जो first line है वो completely philosophical line है. It's actually not something that the author wants to talk about. This is just used to give a good start to the passage, right? Then what is the actual lie that the author talks about? वो झूठ क्या है? It's true that plastic pollution is a huge problem of planetary problems, and it's true we could all do more to reduce our plastic footprint. Now, the statement starts. The lie is that blame for the plastic problem is wasteful consumers and that changing our individual habits will fix it. यही तो lie है, right? So the lie is that consumers are responsible for the problem, and if we change our habits, then we are going to fix the problem. This itself is the lie. वही चीज हमें question options में भी ढूंढनी है. And the first option clearly talks about the same. Blame assigned to consumers. Author के according lie क्या था? That the blame is being put on the consumers, right? That the consumers are responsible. That itself was a lie. So that's how we end up choosing A option as the correct answer, right? B says understatement of the enormity of the plastic pollution. I mean, rest of the options clearly don't make any sense, right? It's a clear fact-based question. It's a direct question, right? बहुत सारे लोगों ने सी भी चूज किया है. यू जस्ट नीड टू मेक श्योर, जैसे मैंने आपको बोला, जो पहली लाइन है इट्स अ प्योरली फिलोसफिकल लाइन, और आपने वही लाइन सी में देखी और आपने वो पिक कर लिया. द फैक्ट दैट पीपल डू नॉट नो दे हैव बीन लाइड टू. लेकिन क्वेश्चन में क्या पूछा है कि लाए है क्या. सी ऑप्शन जो है, that itself is not a lie. It's just a statement that the author uses to give a good kickstart to the passage. I mean, आपको झूठ क्या है वो पता करना है. What was that lie? The lie was that the consumers are responsible for the plastic problem. I hope this is clear to you guys. जिन लोगों ने भी C option choose किया है, it just doesn't make sense. This is just a good philosophical line that the author has used to start the passage, but it's not at all connected to the actual lie. Okay, so we end up eliminating C option and we end up choosing A option as the correct answer. I hope it's clear to you guys. Kushagra, and for those who chose C, Ayush. Yes. Okay, let's go to the fourth question now. Read it and let me know. Come on. Okay, Dhimai, Ishika, Shashank, Ashwin, Abdullah, Kushagra. Good guys, come on, answers from the rest of you. Okay, Ramya. Okay, fine. Let's focus. Okay, Khushi, Rajveer. Question क्या है? In the second paragraph, the phrase "what hammering a nail is to halting a falling skyscraper" means. राइट. सो ये ऑथर ने फ्रेज क्यों दिया था? जस्ट टू मेक यू गाइज रियलाइज दैट अगर आप कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर पे रिलाई कर रहे हो in order to solve the problem, then what you're doing is you're just bringing a superficial solution, right? You're not actually focusing on the root cause of the problem. And that's why he compares this with, hammering a nail is to halting a falling skyscraper. You need to understand why that skyscraper or why that building is falling in the first place. You do not need to blame someone else, or you do not need to find out superficial or alternative solutions, right? So if we talk about the A option, relying on emerging technologies to mitigate the ill effects, this is not connected to this particular paragraph. अगर आप second paragraph में जाते हो, then the author is nowhere talking about emerging technologies, especially when he talks about this phrase hammering a nail is to halting a falling skyscraper. So that goes out. It's technology or relying on technology is not at all connected to this phrase, so that goes out. B says encouraging the responsible production of plastic by firms. Absolutely true. But this is not what the question asks you. क्वेश्चन आपसे ये पूछ रहा है कि फ्रेज का मतलब क्या है, लेकिन जो बी ऑप्शन है वो ऑथर के अकॉर्डिंग एक सजेशन है, एक कंक्लूजन है, राइट? ऑथर सेज दैट वी नीड टू एनकरेज द रिस्पॉन्सिबल प्रोडक्शन ऑफ प्लास्टिक्स, right? But that's not what the phrase means, right? Phrase kya bol raha hai, that we do not need to focus on consumer behavior to tackle the problem. Instead, we need to look at the root cause of the problem, and that's how we end up choosing C option as the correct answer, because it talks about the same. It says focusing on consumer behavior to tackle the problem of plastic pollution. If we focus on the consumer behavior, then it's just like we are hammering a nail to halt a falling skyscraper, right? So that's why we end up choosing C as the correct answer. Why not D? It says focusing on single use plastic bags to reduce the plastic footprint. See, though the author is talking about using single or not using single use plastic bags, but again, this is not what this phrase means. इस फ्रेज को क्लियरली ऑथर ने सिर्फ एक रीजन की वजह से यूज किया है, ये बताने के लिए दैट यू नीड टू फोकस ऑन द रूट कॉज ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम. यू डू नॉट नीड टू ब्लेम कंज्यूमर्स फॉर दिस, राइट? कंज्यूमर्स रिस्पॉन्सिबल नहीं है, प्रोड्यूसर्स रिस्पॉन्सिबल है. क्लियर? सो आप रूट कॉज ऑफ द प्रॉब्लम तक जाओ, आप प्रोड्यूसर्स को ब्लेम करो या फिर आप लीगल फ्रेमवर्क को ब्लेम करो, ना कि कंज्यूमर्स को या कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर को, राइट? एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी चूज सी. Okay, let's have a look at the last question for the session. Come on, try this. Question number 5. Try and post your answers in the chat box. Come on. Okay, Ishika. Okay, Themai. Okay, Sovayan, Kushagra. Okay, Abdullah, Khushi, Rajveer. Okay, Ashwin. Okay, Shashank. Okay, see, the question is, okay, Varsha. Good, guys, very good. All of you are correct. The question is, it can be inferred that the author considers the Keep America Beautiful organization. यहाँ पे author के opinion की बात हो रही है कि author Keep America Beautiful organization को कैसा समझता है. And he clearly says that these companies or this organization is at the face value good, but they're actually trying to hide the real problem. Right? They're actually trying to divert the focus of the people from producers to consumers. वो डिस्ट्रैक्ट कर रहा है लोगों को और ये बिलीव करवा रहा है दैट कंज्यूमर्स आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल एंड नॉट प्रोड्यूसर्स, राइट? Yes, all of you are correct, guys. Ayush, Subshri, Ramya, Varsha. Now look at the first option. Keep America Beautiful organization is a greenwash because it was a benevolent attempt to improve public recycling habits. So greenwash to hai, but was it a benevolent attempt? No, it just looked like a benevolent attempt. At face value, it looked like a benevolent attempt, and hence we do not choose A option as the answer. Agar aisa likha hota that it looked like a benevolent attempt, then we might have considered it. Right, so A goes out. B says it is a sham as it diverted attention away from the role of corporates in plastic pollution. Absolutely, that's what the author says. कि it's a sham. ये क्या करता है? ये green washing front है. ये divert कर रहा है लोगों का attention. Right? So B is the correct answer. What is C? An important step in sensitizing producers to the need to tackle plastic pollution. Now, this is nowhere getting connected to the question being asked. This is nowhere getting connected to Keep America Beautiful. So we eliminate C. Same goes with D as well. It's an innovative example of a collaborative corporate social responsibility initiative. This is also nowhere talking about what the author, feels about Keep America Beautiful. So C and D, both of them are completely useless and irrelevant. We will end up choosing B as the correct answer. I hope this is clear to you guys. Yes, can I please have a yes in the chat box if the whole passage is pretty much clear? Is every single question clear to you guys? Just post a yes in the chat box. And I think most of you got all of the questions correct. So good, guys. I think you guys are practicing enough and It was a very, very good passage, though it was not extremely easy. I would say the difficulty level was anywhere between easy to moderate. So you guys did an excellent job. I think out of five, a lot of you guys got all five on five correct. Most of you also got four on five correct. Right, so good, keep it up, guys. And I would just give you one suggestion: please keep reading things about different genres possible. Right, keep reading articles from Aeon Essays, Smithsonian Magazine, Time Magazine, and a lot of other stuff. uh, I think this is going to help you a lot, because the more you read, the better you will be at reading such different stuff in limited span of time. Right, otherwise आपको बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लगेगा चीज़ें समझने में. Right. Okay, guys, I think that was it from my session, from my side, and I hope you guys keep on practicing things on a daily basis. You guys keep practicing reading comprehensions on a daily basis. And yeah, I think I'll see you in the next session. Till then, take care of yourselves and see you soon. Bye bye, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Also, I'm going to take up your doubts, so please join the session in a few moments. Bye, guys. Take care. Thank